Hey, welcome to our franchise disclosure document review. Today we're going to walk through the Applebee's franchise disclosure document. So first thing to note is that most FDDs that you look at will look pretty similar. They will have this first page that shows you who the franchisor is, in this case Applebee's, where they're located. We'll also see right off the bat this initial investment for a franchise business. Here it says anywhere from $2 to $8 million, so pretty wide range. And then we will get down into the commonly asked questions. So these are the things we're going to touch on today as we kind of walk through this document. We won't touch on all of them, so feel free to hit pause, read a little bit further if it's something that you want to see more about. Ask comments and questions in the box, and if it's something we can answer or provide, be glad to help out there too. So just jumping into Applebee's, the most common questions is obviously how much money can you make coming out with this franchise or investing in this franchise, and then in order to get that return, how much money do you need to invest? Those are the two most common questions that people are wanting to answer anytime you look at a franchise disclosure document. Applebee's no different. Other items are, is the franchise stable? What are my competition going to look like from other franchisees, other potential franchisees, or the franchisor? The stability, also, is the franchisor under any lawsuits? Or really just even looking into other things that you should know. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into the legal history. So if we scroll down to item 3, litigation, not going to speak to this, not an attorney. If you're looking into it, ask for an attorney to review this document for you. But just wanting to point out, here is the pending litigation and also some of the concluded litigation that Applebee's has undergone. Like I said, feel free to hit pause and read through that further if it's something that you're interested in. Next up, we're going to jump into some of the fees and how much money that you're going to expect to have to spend in order to come out with an Applebee's. So jumping into other fees, item 6. So Applebee's, like all other franchises, is going to charge a royalty. This is a percentage of gross sales. So you'll see at Applebee's a 4% royalty paid back monthly on the 12th day of the next month. The other common amount that you should look for is advertising. So most franchises have national advertising and then local advertising. National advertising is usually the more necessary. This is the item that has to be paid to the franchisor, and they're going to spend this money accordingly. Whether or not they spend all of it, that's another topic for another day. But at Applebee's, that's 4.25% of gross sales, paid monthly as well. Next up is local advertising. At Applebee's, this is not currently required. So you'll see some franchisors that will require it, some that will recommend certain levels, some that will have a co-op where you have to spend money according to the way that they have asked you and the other local franchisees to spend on advertising. So nothing here at Applebee's. We're going to continue to jump down, pass over some of these fees. Like I said, if you want to jump into them a little bit more, feel free to hit pause on the video. These are some of the ways that I would say the franchisor nickel and dimes you, but feel free to look at them. The big ongoing costs, though, royalties and advertising expenses. Jumping down a little bit further, this is the big cost that you see with most franchisors, and really what people are going to want to know. How much is it really going to cost you to build a new Applebee's? Starting out, we see your initial investment is going to be that same range that we saw on that first page of the document. So the $2 million to $8,266,000. So obviously a pretty wide range, not uncommon in what I would consider more casual dining, some of these big boxes, or also places where you are likely to have the ability to build and own the real estate yourselves, either the dirt or the improvements to the land. And so I think as we go back through these, that's what you'll see. So initial organizational and training expenses of $75,000 to $120,000. Purchase of land. So there you see the big variable cost, anywhere from $300,000 to $2 million. Obviously, it depends on the market. Are you in a big market, a small market? What is the price of a commercial piece of land? Next up, the building cost. So the actual physical location. Once again, a pretty wide range here. Did you come in and did you remodel a building that was already in place? Or did you build something from the ground up? And you'll see the ranges on site work and professional services as well. And so those are the big things that can vary. The next big cost is furniture, fixtures, and equipment and signage. Usually when you're building a new franchise location, your two big costs are building the building and then outfitting it with all of the equipment, furniture, fixtures, if you have a dining area, and then external signage. So you'll see a pretty wide range here, anywhere from $410 to $750, can vary based on location in the country. This can also vary just based on the size. So many franchise opportunities, you can build a small box or a big box. So as you build out a larger space, those costs go up from building the building all the way down to putting extra booths or seating in. Just scrolling through some of these additional items, the POS system, so how do you take payments, the computer system that essentially runs transactions, a kitchen display system, $12,000 to $18,000, smallwares, your initial silverware, utensils, dishes, etc. Opening inventory, not really I guess a hard cost, but is something that you'll need to have inventory ready in order to open the doors. Something that will be paid off and replenished likely on a monthly or bi-weekly basis. And then your initial franchise fee, so $35,000. Most franchisors put this at the top, but anyways, this is the amount that you are paying essentially as an entrance fee to get into the Applebee system. Next up, we're going to go to franchise territory, item 12. So right here off the bat, you're going to see that you're not going to receive an exclusive territory. You may face competition from other franchisees, from outlets that the franchisor, Applebee's corporate, owns, or from other channels of distribution or competitive brands that they control. Feel free to read through this further. A big thing as you're buying into a new concept really is, you can expect to compete with other brands. You really want to be careful and make sure that you're not competing either with your own brand or that they're going to allow other franchisees to come in your backyard and develop stores that also compete with you. So something to be on the lookout. Feel free to read through this further and hit pause. Next up, we're going to jump to item 19. Item 19 in all franchise disclosure documents is the financial performance representation. Go ahead and hit pause here, but interesting thing to note, this item 19 is empty. So what does that mean? Item 19 will show up like this in some franchise disclosure documents, and for whatever reason, the franchisor has decided that they don't have a reasonable basis to present information in this section. Feel free to take that what it's worth. If you're looking into the Applebee's franchisee, it's likely that the franchisor will provide you with more information. But in this case, they've decided to not outlay it for franchisees. Next up, we're going to go down to item 20. Just wanting to see what is the health of this system. Is it one that's growing? Is it shrinking? What does it look like from franchise to company-owned stores? And so really jumping down in this table, you'll see what has happened over the last few years. So company-owned stores, at the beginning of 2018 was 0, in 2019 was 69, and in 2020 was 69. So very likely that the company bought back 69 of its own stores that were owned by a franchisee. A lot of times you'll see this either with a poorly performing operator, maybe an operator or franchisee that has gotten into too much debt and leverage has pushed them into borderline insolvency, sometimes bankruptcy, and for any of those reasons, a corporation would buy back stores. But is interesting at Applebee's is they had no exposure to operating restaurants, and as of 2020, they were back to 69 stores. Looking at the franchise outlets per year, you'll see a net decrease every year. So in 2018, they lost 158 stores, franchise stores. 2019, and so that 158, you will expect that there was a move. So 69 of those stores became company owned, and then the rest shut down. 28 store decrease in 2019 and a 63 store decrease in 2020. So overall, you'll see a net decrease in the number of Applebee's units over the last few years. Scrolling through, you can also see how many transfers there were. Like I said, feel free to hit pause if it's something that you're interested in looking at a particular state. But overall, we can see that this is a franchise that's likely not in the stage of growth. It's likely that being in the casual dining segment, they had a tough time during COVID in 2020 as well. So that's Applebee's. Thanks for watching the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll have more videos like this on the way. Thanks.